Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're featuring the Seiko MarineMaster. Now, the MarineMaster, let's face it, it's a big deal for Seiko. It's one of their firm favourites, and for many people it's a real grail piece, you would say, to own, because it's that slightly higher tier than all the rest of the Seiko range. It's just before you start getting up into the realms of Grand Seiko. And it's got that kind of, real appeal about it. It's a real hardcore diver. It's been around now since I think it was 2000. I was lucky enough to have one of the models back from one of the original models, which I ended up selling. And recently I had the SLA023, which was the blue dial version. And this is the latest reincarnation of that watch. And to be fair, it is so different. But before I get too far into a review, I've got to say a massive thank you to Ryan and the team over at Francis & Gay of Coventry for allowing me to review this watch. You know what I'm going to say. Tons of stock. Really worth popping into if you're in the area. If you're not, don't worry. I'll leave a link to their website in the description below. So anyway, sizes. This is where it completely changes from the original. This is 39.5, but what I would say is the bezel is 39.5. The actual body of a watch is 38.5. The thickness of a watch, I'm reading it at 12.4 millimeters. The lug to lug 46.5, and the bracelet size is 20 millimeters. Now the dial. The dial, I think, is nice. It's got this sort of like a ridged affair going through the dial. It does look really good. It definitely gives it a bit of depth and pizzazz to it, because it catches the light in different ways. There are 3 different models of this available. There's this, the black, and there's the limited edition silver, I believe. Which one you go for is entirely up to you, but I must admit, I do think this one does look that little bit different. Now, the handset. The handset is just a nice, very nice polished affair. You know, Seiko do their hands really well, let's face it. They're always good when it comes to their hands. As to with the hour markers, which are applied, they do have a nice bit of polishing around the side, and of course, as you'd expect, it's got really good lume to it. After all, it is a Seiko, and that is to be expected. The only criticism I would say is the date window. It's round, and all the rest like the hour markers, the lume within the hands, the lume tip on there are all rectangular. I would have thought maybe square, but I understand within the confines of where the date wheel sits, you're going to struggle to get a rectangular date in there. I think they probably would have been better with going with the date up at 3 o'clock and having it, a bit more kind of in keeping with the rest of the dial, because all the rest of the dial is all rectangles, rectangle. Even the lines are sort of that kind of thing. So that's a bit, I don't know why they did that, but it still looks good anyway. Now, as we come round, there isn't so much of a chapter ring, but you have got a nice bit of depth on there as well. We do have a Seiko and the all-important MarineMaster. But down here we have the Prospex X automatic, but this is where it gets a bit confusing because it's a 200 meter diver. Now, let's face it, the MarineMaster 300 was always 300 meters. I'm wondering, is this a sort of like interim piece before we get a 300 meter diver? And let's face it, 9 times out of 10, or 99 times, we're not going to really ever be testing this down past that. So it's probably more than enough for anybody, really. So anyway, as we come past that, sapphire crystal, ever so slightly domed, but really nicely done. Now, the actual bezel, ceramic. We do have a lume pip up there. I am surprised they've gone with round though. I thought they would have done a diamond shape or something along those lines, but that's how it is. As I say, it is ceramic. Let's listen to the action. Muted. Quite a bit of dampening on it really, but it is actually nice. It feels good and solid. Is there back play? Yeah, there's a bit of back play. but that's, yeah, no problem with that. Line it up, and it actually lines up. So anyway, so as you can see, you can purchase the bezel quite easily. You've got this nice amount of grip on there. Now, the actual case, I should point out, has had their hard treatment on there. Now, it doesn't say Dire Shield, but if it's anything like that, I'm expecting a hardness of round about, it would be 500 Vickers, which would put it roughly 2.5 times stronger than normal steel. Now, the actual side of a watch, you can see here, we've got this really fine brushwork going on, and then we have these lovely polished chamfers on there, which they are really well done. They do look really cool. Now, as we come round here, we've got radial brushwork going on here, and on the side, just the simple crown without any kind of markings. Now, one thing I would say, being that this carries the name MarineMaster, you would think it would have some actual crown guards on there, because let's face it, MarineMaster's always been a kind of robust diver. Now, I am surprised they haven't gone with any crown guards at all to protect that crown. But one other thing I would point out, just while I'm looking at the case, I am surprised the lugs of the strap of the bracelet don't tie in any way with the actual body of the watch. It's just a bit weird. You've got these quite rounded lugs, but saying that, it was the same on the 300, and it was a criticism I had with the 300. The bracelet has no correlation to the actual body of the watch. Now, don't think, because I've mentioned these negatives, I'm only pointing this out because of how the MarineMaster was actually based originally. I personally like this watch. I think it's a good looking watch. It sits really comfortably on the wrist. But these are the little niggles if it's going to carry that name of MarineMaster on there. So anyway, as we come round to the back, we've got this. This is, again, something very different. For one, we have a display case back. It's no longer, this one isn't a monoblock case. What I mean by that is the old one used to have to put the movement in from the front. Now, that sounds great if you're a professional diver, but if you want to service the watch or anything, it's a pain in the neck because you've got to take the whole front off and extract the watch that way. And it's got a display case back here, which is quite unusual. For the old one never had that. But the movement in here is their new 6L37. Now, I placed this on the time grapher, and to be fair, it was doing really quite well. I think it was like 4.5 seconds a day. Now, obviously, you can regulate that. This is a completely different type of beast as to what's fitted on that MM200 there. Now, this is a proper 8 beats per second movement. Now, if I hold these two together, you can probably see, look how much more the hand on that one stutters in comparison to an 8 beat versus a 6 beat. It's just, yeah, completely different. Yeah, really, was that 4 beat actually? Sorry, I've got to think. But it's completely different. This is a much smoother movement. That's the 6R. Now, this is a movement built to last, to be fair. It's really nicely done. It's got dual shock settings. Really, really nice. I think it's a 26 joule movement, and it's got a power reserve of approximately 45 hours. It might go a little bit above that, but you might start losing its time keeping abilities beyond that. So, do bear that in mind. But one thing also Seiko do say in their blurb is that this has got should be serviced every 2 to 3 years. So bear that in mind if you are going to buy one of these. The only reason why I know people say, well, if it's so high end, why does it have to be serviced so much more? It's like it's going to be more kind of, everything's finer inside. It's almost like a Ferrari. You can miss a service on an old truck and not worry about it, but you wouldn't want to be doing that on a Ferrari. So yeah, it's just one of those things. Now, as I say, 200 meters water resistance, screw down crown, obviously, and the bracelet, so I should go out here. It's a nice looking bracelet. One interesting thing, it is pin and collar, I believe it's pin and collar, all the way along. So that makes it much easier for getting smaller sizes. Also, if ever you've got to alter the bracelet in any way, say you've stretched a bracelet over years, you can just replace the pins. It makes it much easier. Now, clasp. This again is a bit of a departure from the old one. Now remember, the old watch, I think the SLA 023 was 2,850, I believe. This is 2,990. So it's more expensive, but you're getting a very standard clasp on here. Now, as you can see, it's a nice clasp, there's no doubt in it, but you don't have any micro adjustment on the fly like you did with the original one. To be fair, the original one, in all fairness, was very it was almost like a bit of scaffolding, really. It wasn't a particularly nice way of doing it, but back in 2000 it did look quite good. This one has only got 2 levels of micro adjustment. Now, to be fair, I don't think that is enough. On a dress watch, no problem, but this is allegedly a professional diver. I would like to see more on there personally. Now, you do have the old, if I can open it, these are always a nightmare to open. I can't even open it, that's how awkward they are. Come on. I can't even do it, it's one of those things. It's going to bug me now, I have to do it. There we go. That's how awkward the Dive Link extensions. And to be fair, that's it. It's not particularly great, but I'm surprised. On really their flagship divers, like Seiko's flagship divers, I would expect a little bit more than that. So anyway, let me put it on my wrist, see how it looks. Quick wrist check. I'm wearing a Panzea, which I am so overdue doing a review of that. I'm really sorry, guys, and I've got a big apology to Panzea for doing that. That I really like. It's a cool watch. Bob is obviously wearing my favourite MM200 of any of them, really, the Great Blue Hole. I think this is a classic watch from them, and still I really enjoy that watch. I don't wear it enough, but I do really like the watch. Now, my wrist size is 7¼ inches. And that's it on my wrist there. I really, as much as I've kind of like knocked it, it's only because of the name it carries. As a watch, I think it is superb. It really sits comfortably on the wrist. It just fits so nice. One of my big reason why I don't own any MarineMaster 300s anymore is they were just so big and top heavy. I never got along with the Bracelet because I always found it was too slim for the head of a watch, and it just never felt like a comfortable watch. Okay, fit in my wrist, no problem, but this is just so comfortable on the wrist. I really do like this watch. I think it's a really handsome watch. Couple of little niggles for round date wheel, but that's really it, really. I really think this is a cool watch. Let me know in the comments below, do you think it's worth its 3K price mark? Remember, that's British pounds, not dollars. So anyway, all the best, guys, and most importantly, stay safe out there. Take care. Bye.